Minimalism, a word that has risen popularity in the last few years. From TED Talks, blogs, articles, we can loosely define minimalism as promoting a less materialistic lifestyle or treasuring the relationships with family members, etc. At a glance, this seems like a healthy trend that everyone can follow, but in terms of the Hong Kong situation, such trend is proven to be counterproductive towards improving our society. The core problem lies in the question, why can't Hong Kong people stop consuming? We can explore this question in a number of aspects.
At an individual level, Hong Kong people simply cannot afford to rest. This is unanimously agreed that the pace of life in Hong Kong is frantically fast. Working hours are long because we would like to raise our productivity. We want things to be done fast. According to the UBS Prices and Earning 2015, Hong Kong has the highest average weekly working hours in the world of 50.1 hours. After a long, exhausting day of work, it is natural that people would like to reward themselves. On the other hand, there is a shortage of leisure facility in Hong Kong. The fact that there are so many shopping malls and so few recreational parks near residential areas means that it is more convenient for Hong Kong people to go to malls rather than parks. Given the fact that Hong Kong people value their off-working hours so much, a quick sense of vanity by spending a few $100s on trendy gadgets is more effective in terms of cultivating our happiness level than going to the park, which takes 10 minutes just walking to it. In addition to the fact that our family members also have their own working schedule, it becomes almost impossible for a whole family to do leisure activities.
Economically, there exists an imbalance on the economic infrastructure in Hong Kong, forcing people to consume more. Incidentally, the commerce of Hong Kong relies heavily on consumption. As land resources are limited, we have little production power and rely heavily on imports. This imbalance forces the government to promote consumption. According to figures provided by the Hong Kong Consensus and Statistics Department, private consumption expenditure accounts for 70% of our GDP. In terms of social perspective, the workforce percentage in the retail industry in Hong Kong reaches 30.1%, which is 2 to 3 times the amount of retail personnel in other countries, such as China, the USA, and the European Union. Given the fact that a substantial amount of people's livelihood relies in the retail industry, if people were to reduce their consumption, they would lose their jobs, which is unfavorable in terms of social and economic growth.
In terms of social and cultural aspect, we are bounded by traditional consumption norms that we have long been respecting. Derived from Confucian culturalism and ethics, traditional Chinese culture encourages the concept of abundancy and delicacy, in which we should always spend more to demonstrate our hospitality. In turn, Hong Kong people often consume more than we actually need just to show our status. For example, during traditional festivals, we purchase significant amounts of festival-related products as gifts to visiting relatives. Yet, those gifts often come to waste, either it was redundant or unnecessary to begin with. According to Wall Street Journal, more than 2 million mooncakes were thrown away after Mid-Autumn Festival in 2013. While this seems wasteful, it would be of greater shame to the hosts if they could not entertain the guests as suggested by traditional beliefs. This mindset is especially prominent to the elderly in Hong Kong, and it is difficult to correct. Apart from the Oriental mindset, the pursuit of quality of life also made Hong Kong people materialistic, thus harder to accept minimalism. Tracing back to a few decades ago, Hong Kong people lived an impoverished lifestyle and had to share household items with their neighbors. As the economy boomed in the 1980s, people began talking about quality of life as their basic livelihood was secured. At that time, the term quality of life was promoted with slogans like chasing the wealthy or live luxuriously, which suggested a materialistic lifestyle. At the same time, Government policies and an influx of product advertisements also hypnotize us to consume more. We began to consume a multitude of goods not because we need it, but rather we have the ability to do so. Nowadays, the advent of internet shopping and electronic money also triggers new desire once we saw them in the internet, knowing how easy it is to bring them home. Ultimately, we become indulged in a materialistic lifestyle, and consumption has become a crucial part of how our daily lives are defined. The idea of minimalism was frowned upon because it reminded us of our stagnant, dreary life that we had been living in the past.
To make a quick conclusion, given the context in Hong Kong, minimalism is seen as a downgrade to us because it preaches the opposite of what we are practicing. It also leads to unsustainable economic development. If Hong Kong is to promote minimalism, it will take a long time to completely adapt since it is difficult to rescue Hong Kong people from the shackle labeled traditional values and beliefs. Ultimately, we think that minimalism is a trend that wouldn't work for people in Hong Kong.